All right, morning. This is test number 2. Hopefully we've got the Rode mic set up. Hopefully you can hear me a lot better than the other day. So we'll see. Again, doing this all on the phone. So this is new vertical shorts kind of feed. If you do happen to come across this, whether live in the shorts feed or after the fact, please do leave a comment. Let us know how you found things. It's just a quick morning workout. Yesterday we worked out. We tried our first one. Yesterday we raced. We did okay. I mean, top 10 finish. I'm not going to complain, but like I said, I've been feeling a little slow the last little while. We're going to be working on that. We got a Trainer Road workout to do today, so we'll be doing that later. I don't think I'll be live streaming that. I've got some time here over the next 3 weeks, so you may be seeing a lot of me, you may not be. But again, we're just going to get going and do our thing. Today we're going to work a bit shoulders, and it's kind of it. Quick workout. Nothing too much. So we're going to throw on our shoes and do a little bit of stretching, get going. And I will notice in this area of the studio that the echo is really bad because it's not really set up for things. Although I would think that the rubber matting would absorb some of the bounce, but it's a pretty wide open space. So we'll see that. If you do happen to drop in, at the very least, just give me a hello in the chat and let me know where you're tuning in from. And yeah, we'll start doing our stretches and get ready. Again, it's kind of weird because the chat and the phone is all sort of directly there. So we'll see how it all sort of works. And I appreciate everybody that kind of jumped in yesterday. Greatly appreciated. Kind of, see, and this is what I miss. I usually have bands, but we're not where we usually are. And that's the big part of kind of doing this testing and setup as well, is that when we get mobile again, when we go back to the private space, that will be set up versus, you know, my tiny little corner here. But thanks to Doom Guy. Appreciate you checking out yesterday's stream. Thanks for mentioning that, because I wouldn't even have thought of that this morning had you not mentioned it in the comments about doing the lav. Although I don't know if that's the best place for it. I don't know. We'll see. But I've also got the magnet. We can change that. So I'm going to start with lateral raises, and we're going to do them seated. I've been doing everything kind of seated just to kind of stop the swinging, I guess, just to make sure that I'm stable, right? Said the same thing yesterday. It's I can hear some big pops in the shoulder. Like I said yesterday, we got some limited weights here. So I'm working outside of my regular routines. I'm just not going into the private gym for at least 3 weeks. So just a good time to test. We might set OBS up to do something a little more formal where it's not kind of shorts, but I just kind of wanted to experiment with a short stream is kind of the thing. Ooh, that pop. So I have crepitus, for those of you who don't know, in my right shoulder. Crepitus is where there's a bone impingement and it rubs off each other. It's I've broken this shoulder so many times mountain biking that it's just, you'll notice, it might be hard with a t-shirt, but there's a significant drop of about a finger from the top of my shoulder to where the shoulder is, whereas on this side it's obviously not damaged, even though I've broken this collarbone twice. Shoulder injuries, not fun. So shoulder day is always interesting. If I ratchet back, if I kind of change my posture, it'll be in place, but if I relax the muscles, it drops down. So it's a bit of a weird thing. And, you know, you can definitely feel it in certain points. You know, I can feel it in bench, I can feel it in a lot of things, but that's just part of getting old and having injuries, is having to deal with those things. So, because we're going fairly light, I'm not terribly worried about it. Just get things warm. Working on shoulders and delts. I appreciate the feedback. Like I said, I have a pinch point here from dislocating the shoulder several times in sports. So if I stop kind of in this midpoint, there's an actual drop off in my my range. There's a dead spot. So from here, like, I don't know if you can see it. You'll see the drop kind of happen, but I wish you could hear the audio pop. It is loud, but with this lav, you're not going to hear it at all. Completely popping. How's it going this morning, guys? Yeah, no, it's like anything. We're just gonna go for seated shoulder press. Like I said, I do most of my stuff seated just because I don't want a lot of body English, which I'm bad for, kind of thing. We're not going terribly heavy. We're working this in. Like I said, we got a cycling training ride this afternoon, so we got to be conscientious of that. Again, I'm a cyclist, so all I'm going to accomplish here is I just don't want wee cyclist arms, which is a real thing. And I'm an older guy in my 50s kind of thing. So we're just going to go to seated shoulder. So I like to, off the shoulder, I like to come full down. And it's still popping. Well, I wish you guys could hear that. Oh. It's angry today. And usually where I work out, I will basically have it, the full rotation is cracking all the way through. So it's a little bit out. And like I said, posture-wise, if I draw my shoulders back, it probably sits where it is. It's partially, I think, a posture thing. I'm so used to being here that it draws forward. So we're doing that. Thanks, Super Turbo Awesome. Just so you know, the chat is on my phone. The phone is the only thing that I've got down here that I can actually check my form because there is no mirrors. which I don't like, but because I usually like to watch, make sure that I'm not cheating. When I watched the first test video yesterday, noticed right away that there were times that my form was absolutely terrible. It's good. We'll just step up. Interview carnivore Dr. Shaw Baker, MD. What's his deal? He's one of these, is he one of these only eat meat, carnivore, Neanderthal diet kind of guys? Is that what his deal is? I think it's interesting. For those of you who are watching for the first time, I guess a little bit about me is that I was a fighter. I retired at the age of 32, which is a good 20 plus years ago now. So I've been out of the professional fight game for a long time. I switched to biking, made some mountain bike movies, did some professional mountain biking stuff, and now, due to injuries and having a bad crash that basically destroyed my hip, destroyed most of my body. I just had surgery a while ago that allowed me to get back on bikes, and I started road biking to get my fitness back because I put on a ton of weight, and that's kind of how we got here. So there, all the above, part-time bodybuilder. Nice. It's yeah, everything's different. But what I was going to say is the funny part is when I fought, the one thing that I did, and you got to think that this is like in my prime, like almost 25 plus years ago, is that I actually was very much a vegetarian during that time, in the sense that that's what I used to fuel. And I did it for two reasons. Sorry about that. Did it for two reasons. One, as a vegetarian, it was much easier to control weight for whatever reason, for me. The other part of it was that my energy levels were absolutely huge. But you got to remember, back then I was a middleweight at 165 pounds, and fighting weight. I walked around at about 185, so being lean was really super important. When was your crash, JD? I lost track of you. I moved out of the neighborhood last summer, and my Facebook account was permanently deleted courtesy of Zuckerberg. Out in Wheatland County now. Ah, cool. I'm going to assume that I know you from playing football then. So my crash was, I think it's about 9 years ago. My surgery was about 5, and then I started my recovery from there. Basically, I fell 75 feet off the cross face of a mountain. Basically, I got bucked, and then I crashed off the side. I fell, a tree broke my fall, and basically I have a cut on my eye where a branch went through. Luckily, I was wearing goggles, and it deflected it, so it just cut to the side of my eye, fairly deep. A rock pierced my back. That was their main concern because I was experiencing back pain. It missed my spine by about 1 inch. So thankfully, there was no bigger kind of issue from that. But the big thing is that my right hip took the majority, I think, of the impact from the tree. So what it did was it basically destabilized the joint. So I went through a lot of stuff, a lot of pain, limped lots, all that kind of stuff. Tried physio, tried that. It was just a nightmare. And what helped me the most was the last procedure that I got done was they used a compound called Monovisc, which is kind of like I think it's like a synovial fluid. So what it was because the ball of my hip was kind of like grinding up against things and hitting things, it was causing me a lot of problems, a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, a lot of pinch points, lack of flexibility, mobility, all those kind of things. And then obviously it's really difficult to work out at that point or do anything. And, the things that come along with it, such as, being depressed and all that kind of stuff, which, has a huge effect on your mental health, not being able to do what you normally do. So what they did was they took needles and they injected the Monovisc and then actually created sort of a buffer between the bones. And it was extremely painful for a while. I thought it was a failure kind of thing. I thought I made a mistake because there was a huge amount of pressure in my joint socket. And then from there, I started getting mobility back, went back to physio, had a good physiotherapist, did another, I want to say like year and a half, 2 years of like 3 days a week physiotherapy, which is extremely expensive and sucks. But, it's your general health. From there, I started getting back on the bike to lose weight. I got like just a little boot around bike and then started cycling more longer distances. And then, of course, one thing led to another. Always the point to get back to mountain biking. But what I found is that I liked road biking for a lot of different reasons. I love mountain biking. I love doing all the stuff that I did in the past, like, hanging out at Rampage, doing all those kind of things, filming the movies, all that kind of stuff. It was a lot of fun, but road biking kind of gave me new life. So yeah, it was good. A lot of fun. But I still have things like this crepitus in my right shoulder. But I only really kind of feel it when I do weights. So I don't really worry about it. But it is a loud, audible pop. There we go. So you're in Wheatland County now. Wheatland County. Nice. How are things going up there for you? All right. Then last, done shoulder press. We'll do front raises. Again, we're going to do all this stuff kind of seated, just so I'm not swinging to the fences kind of thing. Old man workouts. And then we'll probably end with flies. I want to work my rear delts, but I don't have a steel row pad. I don't have a incline bench here, so I can't really kind of get that motion. I mean, I could probably kind of do it face down, or really just kind of, I guess I could just fully lean. That's kind of the thing. I mean, it was kind of the first exercise was kind of a hybrid, but like I said, we just want to kind of keep things maintained. Forgot your username there. Super Turbo Awesome. Question for you. Did you just race Ghost to the Gravel on the weekend? If you did, I think I know exactly who you are, just based on the neighborhood comment and based on the answer to that question. Funny thing is my tracking app for all my exercises on the phone, which I can't use while I'm streaming, is kind of the bigger thing here. No, I wasn't there for that race. No, I used to race with Calgary Cycle / Road. Calgary Cycle. Ah, you're a Calgary Cycle guy. Fair enough. I know a lot of Calgary Cycle guys from back in the day. A few of them are on YouTube. Glenn Bradley, you might know. I think he's got a YouTube channel. He's still shredding the mountain bike pretty big. So if you weren't a ghost of the gravel, you're not who I thought it was, because I do know a guy here that lives in my neighborhood that braved it. As soon as it gets muddy outside, I'm going to be honest, I'm a fair weather cyclist, in the sense that once it gets muddy now, I'm out. I'm not wrecking my bike. And it ate some derailleurs. I know that Adam Boyko in his race lost his derailleur by the looks of things, got chewed up. And that BMC, I think, is brand new. You know, nothing worse than having a drivetrain go within the first, I want to say, few months of having a bike. Nice. All right. Ah, Kevin. Ah, yes. Ah, so you moved out of the neighborhood. So I'm not going to see on the flybys on that little hill back into the hood. There you go. Boyko is my homie. They're grueling races. I agree with you. Yeah, yeah. And Boyko's been he's been hitting up the gravel races. Like he did Canmore Crux. I think he did quite well there, actually. But that was a dry race. Goes to gravel. Like you knew it was going to happen. You knew it was going to happen. Like they had the thunderstorm the night before. I actually went out to take a look, and the road was pitted and all sorts of stuff. Like you could just see like the big wash. And if you saw any of the photos from the races, guys are just covered from head to toe. There was a ton of DNFs. Guys, basically derailleurs getting gummed up and then just basically chewing themselves to bit in the rear cassettes. And like I said, I mean, had I still been with Specialized, unfortunately, Specialized and I'm no longer sponsored by Specialized, or no longer an ambassador. That happened in May, so with less access to bikes, I just didn't want to wreck what I had. So fair weather rider for me. That's what the trainer's for. Stay way drier that way. All right. So yeah, that's a good time. So how's being up in the county there? Must be a bit of a switch from being in the hood here. I bet you miss the hood some days. I bet you miss the hood some days. Not every day, but some days. It has its moments. There we go. Well, the other thing is hopefully the audio is better. Like I said, we're testing out the road thing. This is just a second test stream, so there's no fancy transitions. We're just doing verticals. We're utilizing the shorts, looking at it and looking where the chat is. I don't know how things appear to you guys on your end, but I got a lot of ceiling there. A lot of ceiling. Maybe we need to like angle like that a little bit. Not sure where to stand. We're good. We're good. We're good. And we've got Coventry is a great neighborhood. Woody's within a stone's throw, that's true. Woody's Tavern. Hard to beat the solitude. I agree, man. Like, it's getting harder and harder these days, I think, to be in a big city. Especially if you're, you know, like me, I'm a bit of a lone wolf anyways. I like to ride by myself. I like to train by myself. I like the solitude, in a sense, right? I don't like going to public gyms and tried, but it's just like too much overload for me. So I hear you, man. Having space is great. Be nice to have an acreage. One more. There we go. All right. So nice and late this morning. Oh, I'll alter that up, but appreciate you guys dropping in for these test streams. That's it. Like I said, quick workout. We'll just bang it out. Thanks for the chat. Awesome, Kevin. Thanks for dropping in. We'll probably see you somewhere riding. I'm sure at some point we'll run into each other for sure. But appreciate it, guys. But we're going to end it here. I'm obviously going to go over the footage and see whatever. We may switch to the laptop and an actual OBS setup in the future, but for now, this is going to do. Anyways, guys, cheers. Take her easy. Hope you have a great day.